Now, what do we need? What's the first thing to do when we're thinking about purchasing a plot of land?
Well, as usual, everything comes down to location, location. So it's always good to take a Sunday drive and, pay attention to which areas you like the best. Now, going hand in hand with that is obviously even before that, sorry, finding out what you are qualified to borrow from your financial institution if you're going that route, or if you're a cash purchaser, what is going to be the budget that you're going to play with. Because, of course, when we drive around, we're going to love all the nice, pretty spots, but can we afford it? So we have to establish that first.
Okay, so our price point is the key factor in determining. Okay, once we have that arranged, what's the next step?
Well, once we have identified our location and we know our budget, we have to determine, okay, are we going to go for something that's 5,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet? What will make us happy? So you need to look around first and see what these sizes equate to, and go back with your lifestyle and your preferences. Because, you may have a budget, but you may want to go for an affluent area. And with that budget, you might only be able to get 4,000 square feet. But with an area that's not as fancy dancy, you might be able to get 10,000 square feet. So you need to get a gauge as to what size will keep you happy and satisfied.
Okay, and your family as well are dependent on what you're thinking about for future development and so on. Now, once
Yes.
we've chosen the land size in terms of the square footage, now what about when it's a lot situation within a development? How do you go about making the choice between the center lot, the corner lot, those types of issues?
All right. So things you have to pay attention to. Sometimes there are those persons who love attention. And because of that, they want to be the first on the street. Well, did you consider that every vehicle out of the 100 vehicles that will enter that neighborhood will pass by you? So light from their vehicles, the noise, you have to keep that in mind. Also, when you're looking around, I always say avoid areas where you see those grills over drains. They might be intact now. You might not hear any noise when you drive over, but come year 10, who's coming back to fix that when it's squeaking, when it's making all that racket? And you know what I'm talking about. So pay attention to the area where you want to position your house. Now, if you want peace and quiet, is a cul-de-sac going to do it for you? But if you choose a cul-de-sac, are you at the back of the neighborhood and it's going to take you half the drive to work just to get out of the neighborhood? Something to keep in mind as well. And in terms of corner lots, remember that most of the frontage will actually go towards what is called the verge and the road reserve. All you are able to build on is the net land. So when you get that plot plan, it's important to look at how much net land are you actually getting. So you might be fussy to see 10,000 square feet. And suppose because of the corner that it's on, a kind of a corner sloping into a cul-de-sac, you only have 5,000 square feet of that as your net buildable land. So you read your plan properly and make sure you're comfortable with what is on it in terms of layout, and that you discuss it with a builder, because remember, they are then going to bring everything to life on it.
Okay, now you spoke about the plan. Should it be that we
Mhm.
always have the plan ahead of the land, or can we have the land and then, based on its size, determine what we want to go on it once we found out, well, like how close it is to the sea, how the salt spray will affect the doors and windows, etc. Which comes
All right.
first here?
All right, so I would have been talking about the plot plan there. Now we're talking about the house plan. And many of you are not going to hear me. Don't shoot the messenger. But here we go. Do not design your house plan before you have the land. What did I say? Do not design the house plan before you have the land. Why, Sharita? Thanks for asking. Because when you get your desired plot, you may notice that there's there's a slope to it, there's an elevation to it, there's some contours to it, and your plan, your house plan, may have been designed for a flat spot of land. Okay? Another thing is that I've seen, you may have had a beautiful house plan done kind of for a horizontal type plot. And then the plot that you seek and think that is the best thing on earth is more vertical, more longitudinal. So how are you going to fit this house? Are you going to turn it on the side now? So these are things that can mess with people after they have paid, I don't know, $8,000, $10,000, $16,000 for house plans or 3,000. And then you realize, shoot, I can't make it work. Back to the drawing board.
Okay, so we know which comes first there now. Now, once everything's in order, we have our plot plan, and we also know where we are in proximity to the person on the next lot, because that's key too, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Make sure you know your building restrictions. So, usually you are required to build 6 feet away from the lot line. There are certain dimensions that you have to build away from the center of the road. If it's a major road, you got to go back even further in comparison to a minor road. So you have to look, now that you have your net land, and remember, you can only build on about 40% of the net land. So your space is coming down smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So that's why it's important that house plan does not come until you have the land in place. Things that you have to keep in mind now when you are positioning your house on that plot: where is the wind coming from? Where is the sun going to rise and the sun going to set? I have seen people now find the most beautiful plot, but then they inadvertently put the ensuite bathroom or the primary bedroom on the side where the wind is. So the bathroom has the most beautiful breeze, and the bedroom is fit for who? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So all those things you have to take into consideration now when you are positioning your house on that plot.
Okay, now why only 40% before we wrap up?
Well, there's certain laws in place by the government, and it helps kind of overbuilding, and it helps a neighborhood not look too congested. There's some neighborhoods, I'm in one right now, in which you're seeing a total concrete jungle. Imagine if everyone decided that they wanted to build a 2-story house or a block of apartments, and you were able to build right up to your lot line. Craziness. So for the most part, that's why there are restrictions in terms of the amount of land that you can use. Is just there ordained by town planning, and it's to ensure that neighborhoods have a nice flow to them, and they're not overly built up, not too much bricks and mortar, that there's still green space and ventilation spaces around the houses as well.
Okay, well, we want to thank you so much for giving us the tools to go and choose and be able to make the decision on how and where we're going to buy that plot of land. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Sharita. She's on IG at Agent